Okay, Antonio. So I'm very, very glad to talk with you. And well, the very first thing is that I would like to thank you, even if uh, yeah, I would like to thank you because with all you share with us last year, it was very beautiful, perfect, and I saw a couple of changes when I applied some of the tips that I gathered on the in Barcelona. So it was priceless.
So, can I ask you what tips did you get and which changes did you see?
Okay. So the first thing I've learned from last event is maybe the kind of tricky things like when you host someone, you just want um, um, to fill out his dreams or her dreams. And in order to do that, you have to focus on what they think, about what they want, about what what are their dreams in this trip. Maybe they want to go biking, or maybe they want something like a good receipt, something like this. And it was uh, for the beginning not very easy because I didn't know if will I have enough time enough to do this and that every time. But actually, you don't have to do this every time. It's just keeping in mind and applying when you can or when you want. So I started to do this and include my staff, which is Timmy. He's my manager for one of my rentals. So I'm starting to talk with him, and we matched together to this point of going to a higher level for this rental. And I saw I got more bookings because I got more good reviews.
Right.
So and this changes, this little tweak appears um, between maybe January to April, and after that's the higher season, as you know. So it's more difficult to estimate what is part of this change, or but for the lower season, I saw a big difference. So that's it.
Yeah, great. That's great to hear. And if you remember, by adding small tips, little things like communicating with your guests prior to their arrival with WhatsApp, for example, which is very popular in Europe,
Yeah.
or in some cases like mine, doing I am managing my properties remotely, and even though I have a staff there that welcomes them, that does check in, check out, I always try to do at least one Skype call with them when they check in to say hi, because they see the owner of either the property management company or the property itself, and they feel like, wow, this guy who's owning the business, he's taking 5 minutes of his time to welcome me personally. That makes a lot of difference.
Yeah.
So I keep doing this, and it's just like in terms, as you said before, reviews are important because it's one of the ways that people make a judgment on whether to trust you or not, and then book with you or not. So what the previous guests say is important. So in this case, by just communicating with WhatsApp prior to the event, and the event, I'm thinking about the summit, before they check in, and maybe doing a call with them when they're check-in, just a quick one, lowers incredibly the possibility of negative reviews if something goes wrong, because they will be more willing to forgive you if something goes wrong that is unexpected, because you showed how much you care about it. You showed how much you are for there. So they see that you are human. You are not there just for taking their money.
Yeah.
And for example, I just had this, I'll tell you this, like last week in Sardinia, this year in Europe, in Italy especially, there is quite a lack of water because it didn't rain in winter. So like southern Italy has sort of like an emergency with water. So sometimes there's no water during the day. And so some of my guests were concerned because they said they're coming to my properties in Sardinia and say, what's the thing with water? Is there enough water there or not? And I explained to them what I do. I mean, I have an extra tank of water for them. However, if they use it not wisely, they may finish the tank as well. And sometimes, and this is what I had, like just 2 or 3 days ago, it's the 15th of August. So it's the peak day of the summer season. I think everywhere in Europe or everywhere where the sunshine is. And so demand is high. I got a call from a guest that was saying, hey, we ran out of water. And so that was for me sort of like, oh man, this is a problem. But I handled the situation because we talked earlier. He said, that's no big deal, no problem. I know it's going to come back this evening and you've got the extra tank. So thank you. What you're doing is just so fantastic. That's fine. This is not a negative review. This guy may have gone and then leave a bad review that it's going to influence my business. And this is just because of communication prior and when they do the check-in. So it's one.
Yeah, that's very, very interesting. And it's very accurate what you say, because last week I had a kind of water damage in one of my rental apartments, because here in Normandy it rains sometimes and a lot sometimes. So by the way, this was a very, very rainy day, and a lot of water just came in the hills. So one of the apartments were over the water, not but a little, maybe 5 or 1 or 2 centimeters. And the travelers called my manager, say, oh, I don't know what happened. And then my manager called me, and I was just having a wonderful dinner with my friends in a restaurant. And I said, wow. So I just drove to the apartment, and the travelers, this family, were absolutely shocked to see me in maybe 15 minutes after they called my manager. I think they didn't expect that. Maybe they thought that the owner was outside the country, or maybe he doesn't care.
Yeah.
But for me, it was obvious to be there. And well, just checking what's went wrong. I put the water outside and we did all the stuff, and I was a bit nervous because I didn't know exactly what he was thinking, or they were thinking, our travelers. But you know what? They say, "Oh, don't worry. I know that's not your fault. That's all the rain, and I appreciate you. You're here very quickly, and you know it's okay. My young kid will sleep on the. There is a sofa that can be a bed, a real bed. So it was, no, it's okay, it's fine. So I was like, and this exchange and this way to communicate, you're right to say that we might do this before, during the stay, just a quick call, or are you okay, or SMS maybe, and after, and yeah, that's a good formula. Great.
Good to know that.
So can you just explain, Antonio, to us, uh, how did you start with the vacation rental? What's the start of this, of your story?
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I was looking for my dream house, or for a dream. Basically, in my case, it started up from a pain and a frustration. I was in my previous life working for Alitalia, the Italian airline, in the airplanes. And on September 11, 2001, you know the date, the Twin Towers, I was flying over New York when it happened. And I witnessed first, you know, on my skin what was going on. So I shouldn't say that, but I got really shocked about this thing, and that's the moment I realized. I mean, I'm not going to tell you the whole story because it was quite tough for several days. Blah blah blah. When I got back to Italy, 7 days later, we were the first airplane to land and the first airplane to re-enter the American airspace on September 13, after they reopened the U.S. airspace. And Bush, the President Bush, gave the order to shoot us down if something was going wrong. So we were a little bit nervous, you know, like maybe you can't communicate with the interphone or whatever. And we had like the military escorting us from Canada into the US airspace. CNN waiting for us to interview. No comment from the airline. We couldn't say anything. We were the first aircraft to land in the United States after September 11th. It was a pretty stressful situation. So when I got back, I said to myself, I have to get up. I have to find an alternative life. I have to build myself another source of income and do something else better with my life, because this is not for me any longer. So it took me a few years, but with my wife, then we found a beautiful place. We went on holiday in Sardinia 1 year. It was 2005, 2006, 12 years ago. And we stumbled upon the ruins of this house in this little town, little village. And we immediately fell in love with it. We had no money to begin with, no knowledge of renovating whatsoever. We have never bought a house before, not even our own house. So we were doing all from scratch, but we had a vision and a passion for it. We saw that this could become our dream house first, and that we could make pretty good income and money on it by renting it out. So we started renovating this house, and I was thinking, if I can get 70% of the mortgage that I pay every year off the rents, I'll be happy, because it's going to be a very good investment. You know, I just pay monthly nothing for owning a beautiful house in paradise. It turned out that we made 20% profit on year one instead of, even more than that. So that led us to buy a second house on year 2, a third house on year 3, and do like a whole project all together. And over just like 3-4 years, I was making more money than working for the airline, like twice as much, if not even more than that. And so that's when I decided it was time to change life and do something else.
Wow, excellent. And the thing is, I think it's very important. You say you had a vision and a passion. That's
Right.
it. That if you have the vision, if you don't have passion, it doesn't work. But also as well, if you have the passion, but you're not very well organized, or you don't
Sure.
have the vision,
Sure.
it can be effective. Yeah.
These are two of the ingredients for success in any business. In this one as well, this is a people business. You're dealing with guests. You're giving people a piece of your dream. People are working hard all year round to go on holiday. When they go on holiday, you don't have to fool them around or take advantage of them. So once you have a passion for it, so you're doing what you're doing nicely, and it shows, because it comes from the heart. and you have a vision, you're also doing it for a purpose, because you have a goal in mind, which must be ethic, must be moral, must be good, then you'll always find difficulties, you'll always find troubles, you'll always have that 1% of guests that complain, but you will always succeed anyway, because the amount of the rest that you do, which is perfect, will show up. And yeah.
Excellent. Would you think that when you're starting a business, a vacation rental business, you should first focus on what's your offer, or would you think that you have to focus on your guests?
Well, normally in any business, you would focus on your target audience first, which means you would have to identify who your customers will be: couples, families, single travelers, group of friends, then tailor the offer to that. So maybe just a home stage, or prepare a property for that kind of person. But in our business, normally many of us started renting our own house. So there's a group of people that just bought a house, purchased a house, which was for themselves, and then they started renting it out. Or in other case, property managers do this as a business, so they do it immediately with the target audience in mind. So these are two different approaches. What I think is important is that the heart shows up all the time. I mean, if you are just there to do the numbers, just there to make money, it will show sometimes, because certain kind of businessmen or entrepreneurs, they just have an apartment, 5, 10 apartments. They don't care how they are home staged, how they are laid out, how beautiful they are. They just want to rent them out and put people in. They don't work.
They don't work. Yeah.
Sooner or later, they just die. This is a short-term minded, it's a narrow-minded approach that leads nowhere.
Exactly. And the other element is that there are more and more listings. So the more authentic that you are, the more in contact and really in contact with your guests you are, and it will be very easy for them to know that and to feel that.
Yeah.
Now you're right when you say if you just are interested in figures and how many you can get from them, maybe it will work for a couple of months, but on the long term, maybe not.
Yeah, there's so much choice today that you can win only if you diversify yourself, if you offer something that is truly, truly genuine, nice, and local. If you give an experience of a lifetime to your guests, which is not just renting the place.
And Antonio, I think that you are one of the, not maybe the first, but one who say that if you want to have this vision, because as you may know, people who are watching this video, you have two big types of way to rent your house or your apartment. You have the listing sites, which are very famous. I don't want here to have a list because it depends on what's your country, but you have this listing site, and you can also have your own brand, your own website. And to make a transition, I think you are one who really focused on how owners and managers can develop these parts and being as independent as possible. Can you just tell us what's the baseline of your concept about this?
Yeah, well, thank you for asking this question, because this is like probably the most important question that everybody has in this business. Uh, First and foremost, you have to develop your own website for your own properties or property management company, because it's your store. It's your business. It's where you are in control. The listing sites like HomeAway, Booking.com, Airbnb are an important part of your marketing mix. They are an important part. They are not the only or the major part of the marketing mix. Now, in order to get independent, it takes time and it takes work. There's no quick fix or easy solution overnight. So this is something that everybody needs to know. You build your success over time, but you need to have your own website first. Because I've seen, for example, on Airbnb, that's a platform when I've seen that the majority of people there that I'm in contact with, or that I read comments on groups and forums, they rely solely or majorly on their listing inside the listing site. When you do this, you are at the mercy of the listing sites. They are bringing you business, but they decide if you live or die overnight. If they change a rule like they're doing now, or if they decide that they want a bigger piece of the pie, so they eat your margins, you're out of business. So you need to have listing sites, because they are a window on the world. They do the marketing for you. It's a decent way. It's a good way to get the word out. But then you have to have your own website. And even though they mask the names or the emails in the communication, you can still do it for a while. Give a brand name that is recognizable and easy to remember in your listing site. And when you put it in the description, you put it in the pictures, you put it everywhere, very often a good percentage of the viewers, the guests, the travelers will understand after they read 3 or 4 times the name of your property, that if they Google your property, what's going to happen? They'll find your own website. So let's say, for example, Airbnb is taking you 15, 12% commission on any guest that's coming in. If you offer a 5% discount, for example, on your site, they may go with you and book because it's cheaper there. Even though with Airbnb there's a very loyal following, so people are prepared to pay more on Airbnb because there's the brand Airbnb that makes them feel like a family. So a good part of them wouldn't do it. But the concept is applicable anyway in all the other listing sites and also on Airbnb. So this is one thing. Have your own website, have your presence on the listing sites, but make sure that you work on your site very well, and make sure you work very well with communication with your guests, so that when they go back home, they talk to their friends and they direct their friends, or they come back to you directly.
Sure.
So
excellent. That's a very good strategy that works very well. So if you're watching this video, just I suppose that you're taking some notes, maybe, and that's a very good strategy, having your own website and your listing site, and dealing with both, and trying to not being dependent from these listing sites. That's the best thing.
There is website and website. Not just having a website is fine. Unfortunately, that's not true. You must have a stunning website, and you have to optimize your website for capturing every guest that is visiting your website. So this is a pretty deep and complex speech that we cannot do here now because we don't have time. But just for you for the audience to realize that not every website is okay. There are certain websites you go to and you go like, wow, and others that you go and switch to the next website. So there is a difference. There's a reason why. So just think about that.
Yeah. Just between brackets, I say that I'm saying this because you, Antonio, won't say that, but Antonio is a speaker and a teacher, and he helps owners to, building this type of strategy, and it's very, very effective. I am one of your students, and the thing is, you're right to say that you have to build something over time. You can't say, okay, right now I want to build my website, and tomorrow have it released. That's not possible. So you have to have this vision and take a.
It takes work. When you knock on the door of opportunity, this is a nice phrase that one of my mentors said. When you knock on the door of opportunity, it's work who answers. So that means that there are always opportunities to be successful, but it always takes work to achieve success. So you must be willing to put in the time and the hours to succeed, and you will see the results.
Yeah.
So, you were mentioning earlier. Yes, I have the property. I have more properties. I have my own website. I get 78% direct bookings to my own website.
Wow.
78. I am probably not a typical example, but this is the way it is. Over time, I built my strategy effectively so that today only 20% of my bookings come from Airbnb, HomeAway, or Booking.com. The rest all come direct to my site, or they come through word of mouth. People that have been there talk to their friends. They love the experience. They love the person. They love the treatment, and they bring in more friends, or they come back. Wow. So this is definitely one thing that is worth considering.
Great. I'm just watching for the time, which is running out. So, wow. Very interesting concepts and tips, Antonio. Thank you. And you are now planning and working on a very, very special event. That's that's the purpose of this video, because I attended to this event last year in Barcelona, and we'll just explaining to you watching this video in a moment. But I attended to this event last year, and it's a good luck, to have this type of event, because when you're an owner, you're alone. Especially in France, you don't have many events like this, so you have to struggle to read books or maybe websites or something. But I took my tickets and my flight tickets last year, and I didn't regret it. And this year there is another session which is preparing, and maybe Antonio, you can just tell us about this type of event. Yeah. In order that maybe my French fellows, if they are interested, come and join me, and coming to you, it's fun.
Yeah, actually, you won't be the only French fellow. There will be a few French fellows as well that are coming. I organize, now this is the 4th year, we're going into the 5th one, the Vacation Rental World Summit, which is basically a 2-day training event and networking event with some of the best minds in our industry that are going to share with the audience, with the attendees, the best practices in the industry, how to get more bookings, how to streamline workflows and use softwares that work well, and how to make more money and cut costs. So how to better get a return on the investment that you make. It's an event that takes place 2 days on September 23rd and 24th, Saturday and Sunday. It's a weekend in Florence, Italy. And there are going to be like property owners, property managers from all over the world. Last year in Barcelona, we had 120 attendees from 21 countries. This year, we're going to reach 200 people. We already have over 170 and attendees, and coming from Canada, United States, the Caribbean, South Africa, Australia, Singapore, Hong Kong, China, and of course all over Europe, France. There were, I think you agree with me, if you remember, there were a lot of French last year in Barcelona. You recall that?
Yeah, there were. Especially, I can't remember, but a couple of owners who are in Nice and Paris.
Yeah, those are, Ralph and Karen Morehouse. They are Americans. They have properties in France. There were a good number of Frenchmen at the summit, either property owners, property managers, or even entrepreneurs like Seb Grosjean, the head of Booking Sync, was there, and then a lot of French people, like and this year, like last year, we're also going to have some of the executives from Airbnb and Booking.com will be there. So if attendees want to ask them questions, they can. If they want to get answers, they can. And also you're going to have property owners that are successful that are going to share how they manage their business. Same thing for property managers and other industry professionals.
Great. So if you're interested in, I will put the link just to have more information. That's it's okay. Just have a look on it, and if you are available between the 23rd and 24th of September, it's very worth it to go there. And just especially because you are a very good organizer, and in this type of event, you don't know if you're just in a room and focusing in this subject, but that's not. It's not that. It's more than. I would say it's more than a kind of seminar. It's just like a weekend that we share together. And we were trying to know each other, and it's like we didn't know each other before joining. That was my first time, so I didn't know any of these fellows. And in maybe 2 hours, because of just the speakers and the audience, everything was fine. It was very easy to speak to.
It's a great networking event, and the feeling. Being in a family, that's what I think. Probably if that's what you meant, that you felt maybe you could feel uncomfortable in the beginning because you don't know anyone, but when you get there after a few minutes, you realize there are so many people like you, same feelings, same energy in the room. You make friends very quickly. You learn lots of things very quickly that you didn't know before. There is no competitive feeling there, because first there's people from all over the world, so it is kind of unlikely that you will have your next door neighbor. So you are more free to open up your secrets, and the other people are free as well to do exactly the same, so it benefits everyone in the end.
And one thing that's very I was very surprised and happy surprised for this is you had Booking.com and Airbnb in the same place, and they are just trying to give the owners and the manager their best tips in order to do this or in order to do that. That's not very easy to understand if you don't go to this type of event, but they were just there to help and to answer the question. In French, we have a word to say it's langue de bois. It's when you say that something but you don't really think. And no langue de bois. And it was very, very.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was about to say. Normally you would say, yeah, right. Booking Airbnb are there. They're gonna just sell us their own stuff or whatever. Now, when I organize these events, and I've been doing this for a number of years, I set the rules of the event. So the fact that Airbnb and Booking.com and other big listing sites participated in the past that are still participating today is it doesn't mean that the thing is spoiled, because I set certain rules, and the rules are you must give value to the audience first. You don't have to sell the audience things. We are here to give things that work, to share best practices and things. If you are on this line, then you're happy. I'm happy to have you here, because you'll see that the benefit is mutual for everyone. And it worked. It worked. They are open to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it was very interesting. And what are the type of speakers that you have this year? Can you just tell us more about it?
Last year it turned out that it was focused on the guest experience. If you remember, like many of the speakers were giving tips on how to make the guest experience phenomenal. This year, we're going to touch on the guest experience, but we're also going to focus on taking action. So how to implement things practically so that you solve problems. For example, we're having a property management company from Prague that is going to show how they automate the management of 60 or 70 apartments, meaning they have a life. They use software so that they personalize things, but at the same time, they don't have to spend time 24 hours a day on the business. So they are going to show how they have done this, how they've scaled and grow sustainably. We are going to have Alan Egan, who's going to show a new vacation rental marketing technique whose aim is to drive more traffic to your own website so that you get more direct bookings. You are found more easily, not necessarily only on the listing sites. We are having a VR tech competition. This is very, very interesting. Together with Rentals United, which is a channel manager, we just launched a competition worldwide. We had 40 applicants that are startups, tech startups in our industry. So showing products that they are doing new that can make our life better as an entrepreneur. And we just chose yesterday the 3 finalists that will pitch on stage. So in Florence, they will come there in 1 hour. They'll have 10-15 minutes each to show what the product is, and then we will all vote the winner. But it's interesting because we will get to learn something that's that can be very useful. One is a welcome app that I've been actually using for the last 6 months with my guests, and I've seen it's working wonders in terms of guest experience, improving the guest experience. Another one is a data collector. So you normally have, Excel spreadsheets for your numbers or the emails or everything, and then you have to analyze. We're going to have a software company that's showing us a platform that you can put all your files in it, and it shows you nice graphics and graphs so you can understand the numbers better of your business. And then we're going to have another company that's going to talk about key management, so automation and these kind of things. This is just the VR tech session. So if you think that it's going to be 2 days packed with sessions like this, networking, coffee breaks, and getting together, there's a lot to learn and a lot to have fun with.
Wow, excellent. And do you have these kind of hot seat sessions?
This year we will not have the hot seat session because it is replaced by the VR tech, this technology one but this year we increased the time for coffee breaks. So if you remember, you were there last year, it was a little running also because you had to go up to the venue, then come back. It was time consuming. This year we made sure that we have half an hour coffee breaks in the same place. So it's just next to the room. There's a bigger room where you can just relax, get coffee, drinks, and talk to other people. So that's the way of managing the lack of the hot seat session.
Great. So, wow, it's very. I'm eager to be there, and maybe one last question, Antonio. But this question maybe gather all that we've said already. But I would say if you just had to say to an owner or a newbie who want to start a vacation rental activity and business, well, okay, guy, you should bear in mind this thing when you're starting. What would be this thing?
It's a good question. Not easy. You have to learn lots of things. You have to study the industry. And today, the market is very competitive, is also a bit mature. So if you're starting today, you're going to enter a world that's very dynamic, where there are a lot of other people that are very successful already. So if you want to do things well, you have to learn how the industry works around you. Do your best to put together a very nice apartment. And by mean very nice, I don't mean very expensive or with fancy things, but try to do things nicely with good taste, have a very nice unit, and then display it well. So your own website, build a website, or hire someone to do a website for you, and then advertise on listing sites, because that's important. And then look at softwares to run your processes better, because you cannot do things manually. You have to have softwares in place that run and work well. Today, after years, I have a part of my business that I run on autopilot because I have some softwares. And so a big part of the communication that I do, I don't do it anymore. It's automatized. It looks like I am there, and if they reply, I am there, but the messages go out automatically because I have a software, so-called property management software, that handles that part for me.
And you can give more time to be there to call your guests.
Right.
So all the stuff that you don't want to, and you're not very easy to do, then you can delegate and focus on what you really love to do.
Yeah. So in the beginning, there's lots to do, lots to learn, but there's also lots of reward and gratification to have. And everyone in our business knows that when you deal with your guests, it's just people like us. So we are happy when we go somewhere and we had the dream, the holiday of our lifetime. It's the same principle here. Now we are on the other side, giving them the holiday of a lifetime.
Right. Wow, beautiful. So Antonio, thank you very much. I would like to say thank you. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're watching this video, if you have questions to Antonio, you just can just let a comment below this video, and maybe Antonio, you can answer the question if people have one. And I hope that we are reaching the Vacation Rental World Summit in September with a lot of people in France. So
everyone to remember, they can go to vacation. You're going to put the link below. It's vacationrentalworldsummit.com. And you see the page, there's the program, there's everything there, accommodation, and the tickets to buy. There's 20 more tickets left, 25 more tickets left, and then we'll probably sell out. So
okay, good to hear. Okay, Antonio, thank you very much. And I don't know if you have something to say.
Yeah, probably people may ask how much is the price of the event. So currently at the moment, the actual price is $347. So $347 is the ticket to get there, but you can use a coupon code VRWS17. We will have it underneath there. So that takes €100 off. So meaning that the price will be taken down to $247 to get there, which when you look at the events in the industry, like the VRMA is one and other events, they cost way more than that. And it's an investment that, in my opinion, I always like to say, are you willing to invest the cost of one night or maybe 2 nights at your property for earning maybe 10 times more because of one single thing that you learned there so this is my challenge for everyone. Just think about it. Are you willing to invest in learning or not? That's going to make a difference.
That's a good investment. A good time. Just have fun. Just go to this link and register. That's what I can say. Okay, Antonio, thank you very much, and we'll see you on Florence. I don't know the Florence. I just see the picture in your video, which was good footage and very impressive.
Nice that you know. You will enjoy it. You really enjoy it. It's very small. Very the location is right in the center, the best part of town. Very safe, beautiful. You can walk anywhere. It's going to be a nice experience, I'm sure.
Good. Okay.
See you there then.
See you there, Antonio, and have a good day. Bye-bye.
Ciao. Bye-bye.
Ciao.